Hi colleagues, welcome to the staff bonding for music, and today we're going to be creating our own music. So I hope you're excited. We're going to be using this online application known as Songmaker, and if you click on the URL or you key in the tiny URL that says compose melody, you're going to come to a template like this. I've already added in a bass line just to get the music going, but if you don't like it at any point or you want to modify it, please feel free to do so. All right, so when it comes to composing, something that a lot of composers and songwriters use when writing music is these things called motifs, M-O-T-I-F. All right, and a motif when it comes to music is just basically 3 to maybe 8 notes at most. So it could be something as simple as this. It could be, they could have spaces in between. You can have notes playing at the same time or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to have this as my motif. Once we have the motif, we have our basic building block for the rest of the piece. And how we elaborate on this motif is we use different things called compositional devices. I'm going to be teaching 3 main compositional devices today. The first one is repetition, the second one is sequence, and the third one is inversion. The first one is repetition. So repetition is repeating the motif exactly how it is. So just like that, right? And you can vary the space between each repetition. So here you see I have two block space. I can change it to 1 block space. I can stretch it out like that, right? Or I can just repeat one portion. So let's say I like this part, just the last maybe 3 notes together, like that. And then I just want to repeat the first 3 notes like this. Yeah, so you can hear that when there's more space in between the repetitions, it sounds a bit more relaxed. When I have less space or even no space between the notes, then it becomes a bit more intense. All right, so that's it for repetition. So the second one we're going to use is sequence, right? And sequence is basically taking the motif and moving it up or down. Well, it's a bit complicated. Yeah, so you see how this is basically this motif moved down by 1 note, all right? And I can do the same again. So this becomes something like it's called a descending sequence. Sometimes you don't have to be too strict with the notes as long as the shape or the contour of the melody is the same. So I'm going to play this. Let's hear how it sounds. Yeah, so the last one we're going to introduce to you is inversion. So instead of jumping up and a step down, I'm going to jump down, have a step up. Okay, the break remains the same, but I'm going to have it like that. Okay, so you see how this is an inversion of this. And then there's another technique that's sort of related to inversion called retrograde. So instead of flipping it horizontally, we're going to flip it vertically and play it backwards. All right, so this is known as retrograde. It's something that a lot of modern composers use. This is inverted. Yeah, you can hear the symmetry in this, right? Yeah, so composers don't just use one of these techniques, but use a combination of them in creating a piece. So let's say I want to do maybe a sequence, okay, and maybe just repeat this last 3 notes a bit, and then an inversion, maybe. Yeah, so this is a combination of the things that we have learned. Okay, so this is an inversion, and I'm going to make this inversion ascend. Okay, and so with these tools, we have a lot of different versions of our motif to work with. Let's hear how it sounds. Yeah, okay, so I think it sounds quite nice. So once you're satisfied with the notes that you have written, you can go ahead and change the tempo to be something faster. or it can be slower, all right? Okay, maybe this is a bit more relaxing. You can also change the instrument. So over here we have marimba, which is something similar to like a xylophone. Okay, for this one, let's do the piano, all right? Okay, and after that, you can add in your own rhythmic part. If you're not too sure on what to do with this, you can actually just create a pattern that is maybe 4 columns long, and then just repeat the pattern. So music is actually all about patterns and shapes and you know, just being able to modify and use the right ones when you want to. So let's hear how this sounds. Okay, and I can change my rhythmic instrument as well. So once you're satisfied with your composition, what we're going to do is we're going to press save down here at the bottom right hand. Oh yes, something that's important is if you are not satisfied with the whole thing and you want to redo, don't press restart. You can just key in the URL. Okay, so once you press save, you can actually download the music that you've created either as a MIDI file or a WAV file. But what we're going to do is we're going to copy the link and we're going to go to the other tiny URL that I gave you, the one that's like /JWSS compositions, and add in your composition as a post here under your name. All right, so paste the copied link. Then you can listen to each other's compositions and like them. Okay, and add a comment or whatever you like about each other's compositions. Okay, that you can encourage one another. Yeah, I think that's all the explanation that I have to do. I'm looking forward to hearing your compositions later on. So please remember to post and share what you've been working on. Don't worry if it doesn't stick too close to the motif or whatever I'm doing. Just be creative and have fun. So I've actually gotten some compositions here. So you can see this is a sequence. Let's hear it. Yeah, okay, so this is done by Raiden from One Curiosity. This is done by Jia Heng. Okay, so this is done by Denzel Beck, also from One Curiosity. Yeah, okay, so you see how the contour or the shape of her rhythm kind of matches her melody. I think that's quite interesting. And she also took out parts of my bass line. So I've done some samples here as well. In this one, this was the original motif. Dun 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 dun. And I repeated just this back part. Dun dun. Okay, and here's an inversion of the motif. Dun 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 dun. And then this is a sequence on the original motif. Dun 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 dun, and then an inverted sequence. Yeah, and I modified the last bit of this to connect with the red note. This is the motif here, and here I have some of the motifs overlap. You can hear, and it sounds a bit like these other parts are imitating the motif. Over here, I have the motif, and then I have an inverted version of the motif, and I added some notes as harmonies as well.